Purple Ella here and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about the difficulties that I and many other autistic people experience with processing verbal information. I have difficulties processing verbal information, which can make life really tricky for me because if you think about it, there's so many situations where processing verbal information is an important skill, from just listening to my friends and what's going on in their lives right through to my education, where a lot of the content that I needed to learn was delivered by a teacher standing at the front of the class telling me the information, through to these days going to conferences or going to talks, and again the information is often delivered by a speaker standing at the front giving me verbal information. So as you can see, not having difficulty processing verbal information can be a real challenge for me. I think that I've done a little bit of investigating into the reasons why I have problems processing verbal information, and one of the things that I found is that it's possible that I have difficulty filtering out the important information, and I think this definitely rings true for me. For example, if somebody was telling me a story about how they had gone into town and met someone that I know, and what they want to tell me is that they met someone that I know and that they passed on their well wishes, but they might start the story with, so I went into town the other day and anyway I got on a bus, and on the bus there was this like really loud sound and it was really bugging me. And then I realised I was really hungry, so when I got into town I decided to go to a restaurant and have some lunch, and then I saw this really cute dress that I just had to have. And anyway, while I was walking down the street I ran into your friend, you know that guy? So as you can see, that in this story, which the key information is that you ran into my friend, there's a whole bunch of other information that I'm struggling to process. And as well as it being frustrating that I can come away from this kind of conversation feeling like I didn't actually hear what was said to me, it can also cause me to feel really overstimulated and overloaded, because what my brain has done is tried to take on every piece of information and valued every piece of information in the story as equally valuable, and my brain has tried to focus on all of those, and that leads me to feel overloaded. The other aspect of why I think that I have difficulty processing verbal information is to do with the other stuff, the other sensory stuff that might be going on in the space where I'm listening. So in the past I've been to educational events, particularly say I've gone to a talk about parenting my autistic children, and I really want this information because I want to support my children. So I've gone along, but in the room where the information is being given there might be in the corner a clock that has a particularly loud tick, and then I might hear out in the street there might be some children playing or singing, or some dogs barking or something else going on out there that I could also hear. And then up above me there might be a fluorescent light that's bothering my eyes and humming away, and I find all of these things really difficult to filter out, so they're all really in my head, and between all of those things that means that it's virtually impossible for me to focus on what's being said, the important things that are being said by the speaker at the front of the room. So the sensory overload can make it difficult for me to be in a place to sit and listen and process some information. So what can you do to help someone with autism who has problems with processing verbal information? I would say the first and most important thing you can do is to stick to the point. So as hard as that might be, when you really want an autistic person to remember an important key piece of information, present that information using as few words as possible. So for example, with my children, I found that in the mornings when I was trying to get my son to put on his shoes, I would be, hey, it's time to put your shoes on now because we need to go to school, and by the way, don't forget to pick up your school bag and pack your homework at the same time. So I've said too many words, and then I would find myself feeling really frustrated when I found my child basically just wandering around downstairs looking a bit lost, not really sure what they were supposed to be doing. So I've learnt now just to say, time for school, shoes on. Really simple and definitely more effective. So I think the fewer words you can use and sticking to the key points is really important. The other thing that is really important for us is for you to give us time to respond. So I know that definitely one of my children takes longer than you might imagine to respond. So I might ask him a question like, do you want a drink with your tea? And then I might wait. And then he will respond that yes, he would like a drink. Now, in the past, when I didn't understand about his autism and this need, I would be like, oh, what? I'm just standing here. Can you make your mind up? Do you want a drink or not? Which was really unhelpful. And I know that if I give him time to respond, that means that he's going to feel calmer and happier and more able to give me a response. Now, I feel that for me, what I've learned to do is that when somebody talks to me, I know I've got to respond, even though I'm struggling to know what I should say or what's been said to me. I know I need to respond within a normal amount of time or it's going to look weird. So I just blurt out the first thing that comes into my head, which isn't a considered and careful response and often can come across as quite thoughtless or not relevant. And that's really frustrating because I don't feel like I've been able to express myself the way that I wanted to express myself. So what I would like is to have time without feeling like I'm inconveniencing someone or being weird to figure out what my response is before I respond. The other thing that you can obviously do is to try and reduce the sensory stimulation in the room. This is a really tricky one because we live in the world where there is stuff. But if possible, if there is a loud noise outside, can you close the window? If there is an annoying buzzing light, can you turn it off? Have a look around and imagine that your senses are really heightened and what might be in that room that is going to bother you and distract you from being able to concentrate. One of the other things that I find can be really useful when it comes to processing verbal information is to use a fidget toy of some kind. I don't know what the science is behind why this helps me to focus in on what's being said, but it definitely does. So just to give you an example, I have got a fidget cube, which I love. I think this is my favourite fidget. It has lots of different activities to do. I also have a fidget spinner, obviously, gotta have a fidget spinner, love it. And I also have a tangle. I love the tangle. It's really simple, but I find just wrapping it around my fingers helps me to zone in on what's being said. And I also have, this is made by my friend Abby, who runs Sensory Ujima Bobs. And this is a fidget flip, something, I don't know, can't remember, sorry Abby. But it's a really good fiddle. And then if I am somewhere where I don't want to use a fidget toy because I feel like I don't want to stand out or I don't want to get something out that people are going to notice or be distracted by, then I'll just use my charm bracelet and I'll just fiddle with that. And I find that that really works as well. So if you would like to contribute to the conversation about difficulties with verbal processing, do you have any other thoughts on why it might be difficult for autistic people, or do you have any suggestions for ways to make this easier for me and my children? Then if you do, please do leave me a comment in the comment box. Like the video if you liked it, and if you are enjoying my videos and you would like to hear more about my autistic family and our lifestyle, then please do subscribe to make me smile.